Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV, and this week I'm in Canberra, which is Australia's capital. So it's a long way from home for me, and it's a very pretty capital city here in Canberra. It's a very interesting place because this is the house of the politicians here, where they all come and do all the business of the country, like you do wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours. So it's an interesting time to be here when all the politicians have left town and people are just getting down to the family thing. And Merry Christmas to everybody, wherever you are in this amazing globe of ours. Here in Australia, we celebrated Christmas yesterday. Today is the day after Christmas here for us, which is technically known as Boxing Day here, where everybody goes mad and goes to the shops and gets their plastic out for a bit more of a run while they sort of go and buy more things that they probably don't need because of the big Boxing Day sales. But anyway, enough about that. I hope that you've had are having an absolutely amazing time with your family, with your friends. And if you were watching the show last week, I talked about that Christmas was going to be a very interesting and unusual time astrologically because we had the full moon, and the full moon was going to be in Cancer from Sunday through to Tuesday. So even if you're in the southern hemisphere and you're already into the 26th, you've still got another day and a half of the influence of the full moon in Cancer. Now, the full moon in Cancer means this. It's the time of the year where the moon is full. Now, we've talked about what a full moon is on the show before, but the full moon is where it gathers up all its energy and all its momentum over the 28 to 30 day cycle, and it's ready to release. It's ready to release things that we no longer need in our lives anymore, things that we're ready to let go of, whether that's emotions, whether it's situations, whether it's ideas or projects that we've been working on. It's time to empty that bucket. It's like having a bucket full of water. We can't put any more water in. We need to release some to be able to add more. So when the moon is full, that's what we're technically doing. We're releasing things that are no longer necessary to us. Now, when it's gone back into its own sign of Cancer, which is the sign that the moon rules on the astrological wheel, each planet rules at least one sign. And Cancer is actually ruled by the moon. So when we go back into the full moon time, with it going back into Cancer, it's a time when the moon is feeling very much at home. It's feeling very comfortable. Now, the only problem with that being the festive season, and we can all have a little bit of a giggle and relate to this usually in some way or another, it's the time when families and friends and things like that get together and we're supposed to be all of good cheer. And that's what the whole purpose of Christmas is about. It's not just about spending money at the department store, but it's about spending time with loved ones and hopefully looking forward to some brighter, more positive days to come. But with those festivities and the things that we're aiming to do over that time, a lot of times people have a couple of glasses of fizz or some sort of alcoholic beverage, and that tends to loosen tongues. And it also tends to bring out the best and the worst in people. And it's the time then, if it's something that's been bothering them for a long time, we quite often find that comes to the surface and we start to see little family disagreements or arguments that happen at that time of the year. So that's why I said last week on the show that it was going to be an interesting full moon because it was coinciding with the festivities of Christmas. And I asked everybody to be very patient and to be very understanding and sort of realise that there was going to be a number of things that would be a realisation. Because when the full moon goes back into Cancer, it's almost like a slideshow of events or opportunities or things for us to be able to clear things out in our mind. And for some people, it will be a time of massive change, of endings, change, transformations, because anytime we have the moon in a water sign, it is usually about letting go. It's about endings, change and transformation, whether it's in Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio. It is still some form of an ending cycle. So with the full moon being back to its full strength, being in its own house where it feels the most comfortable, it was a time when our emotions were going to come to us, and some would be positive and some not so positive. So that was why it was really important that we were very careful of how we worded conversations that we didn't bring about arguments and things like that, that wasn't the time to really sort of have that great discussion about something that's been bugging us for many, many years or many weeks or whatever. It was a time to sort of shelve that and try and get into the spirit of the season. Now, I know for a lot of people that Christmas time is a very difficult period of time, because for those people that have had a loss this year, that have lost somebody that was near and dear to them, and this is their very first Christmas without that person, the pain can be very, very overwhelming. It's a time when you're supposed to put on your happy face and put your smile on, put the party hat on and really be of good cheer. And yet at the same time, on the inside, all that you're feeling is loneliness, unhappiness, sadness. You're missing that person terribly because they are normally here at the Christmas table doing this and carving the turkey the wrong way, or getting the kids all wound up on lots of sugar and soft drinks and things like that, and other adults frowning down their nose because that's what Poppy used to do. He used to be the king of the kids and things like that. So those sort of family traditions change when we have a loss. And they're the sort of things that I think become the biggest adjustment. And it doesn't matter whether it's a few months, a few weeks, or a few years, or even 30 or 40 years. The loss doesn't necessarily become any less. I think we find a different way of dealing with it and a different place to put it. But it's not always just about loss of people. It can also be a very difficult time for people that, for whatever reason, are unable to travel or to get together with loved ones over this festive period. And they feel that tremendous sense of loss, or not a sense of belonging, where everybody else is going off to Christmas parties and they're sitting there talking to themselves or their partner or something like that, and feeling as if they're missing out on something. And can I say to those people, Christmas is different for everybody. It's not always about the great big family get together and eating too much and drinking too much and sort of, having to put up with people that you don't particularly like because they're relatives or people that you enjoy being with. It's about being happy and finding that peace within yourself. And I think we gear ourselves to this, almost like the world's going to finish on this day if we don't get everything done by Christmas. And then, once it's all over, we say, oh, well, that's done for another year, and we sort of get back to normality. And I think we put too much pressure on people that are by themselves or aren't going away or aren't doing that something special. We tend to build up in this lead up to it, asking everybody what they're doing for Christmas. We're really not that interested probably as humans, but we ask that question because it's expected of us, and, they give us the answer. And then that reinforces that sense of them not feeling like they belong because everybody else is going away or they're going to the big family get together or whatever. Instead of sort of saying it's a time we can sit back, unwind a little bit, reflect and find something joyful in our lives that is important to us, because that's what Christmas is about finding that joy inside yourself. And we've had such a big year astrologically this year. We've had lots of lunar eclipses. We have those every year. But this year I think that they were far more powerful than what they were last couple of years anyway, because the lunar eclipses this year seemed to really sort of pack a punch. And as we head towards the end of the year, we've had a big energy shift. We've had, the sun's moved out of Sagittarius, my favourite time of the year, into Capricorn now, where things have got to become a little bit more practical and logical, and we've got to hopefully start putting our business hat back on and start looking at our finances, and probably for most people looking at how much money they spent that they didn't intend to spend on their plastic and have overspent on the festivities, and then you've got to worry about paying for it. But it's also a time when we start to look at our job situation, our finances for the next 12 months. Is there decisions that we need to make, because it's that Capricorn time of the year where we do look at the official things in our lives. But we've also had the planet of expansion and opportunity. Jupiter has just moved into Sagittarius. It moved in there late November and will be there till the end of December 2019. So it's having a 13-month transit this time. Normally the transit is only 12 months long. So it's telling us that, okay, Jupiter's sort of saying, well, what new opportunities, what new exciting things can we do in our lives? We need to be doing something very, very different. We need to be not wasting this opportunity. And particularly if you're a fire sign, a Sagittarian, an Aries or a Leo, you've got 12 months to make hay while the sun shines. It's not the time to sit back and sort of say, oh, I want this and I want that, and you don't get up off the couch and try and make it happen. It's a time where, yes, opportunity opportunities can knock on your door, but you have to be proactive in it. Nothing happens by you sitting on the couch wishing for it and sort of putting it on a manifestation board and saying, that's what I want. I mean, I'm not criticising people that believe in the power of manifestation or a board or something up on the fridge. That's terrific. That's your light bulb moment. That's the moment where the idea is born. That's terrific to remind yourself of that. But then I think you have to follow it up, back it up with action, get up off the couch, get a plan of action. How are these things going to happen? Don't just sit there and say, oh, I wished for it, I tried to manifest it and it didn't work because I manifested every day, every time I walked past the fridge, I touched it. That's not actively pursuing or putting energy into making our dreams a reality. And I'm a big believer in that, you know, we can all sit there and say wishful thinking, oh, this didn't happen and that didn't happen. Well, what did you do to contribute towards it? Oh, well, I lit a candle, or I talked to it every day, or I stroked it as I walked past it. No, well, that's not enough effort, in my opinion. And, you know, people need to be sort of actively, I think, if you want change in your life, then start to find a plan of action of how you're going to achieve what it is that you want. We still have the planet Pluto transiting through Capricorn, who's been there for about 12 years now. It'll be there through till about 2022. And Pluto's role in Capricorn is still about transformation. And if we look at it more on a global level, we look at the things that are actually happening around the world. We've got destabilisation with governments. It doesn't matter which country or which continent you look at, there seems to be something going on locally with the politics at the moment. And I'm not going to stick my nose in other countries' politics, but I mean, this week we've had, you know, lots of changes around the world, and that's good, because we've had people there that are sort of looking at things and saying, oh, you know, well, President Trump shouldn't be doing this. And in England, they're getting close to Brexit. And here in Australia, we're looking at different things that, you know, we've got a very unstable political arena as well. So we've got things there that we all, as collectively as a globe, are looking to do. So we're going to take our very, very first call, and it's Wendy in Thelma, Kentucky. Are you there, Wendy? Are you there, Wendy?
Yes.
How can I help you? Merry Christmas, Wendy. Do you have a question for me?
I was just wondering if my mom's coming around. She's passed.
Wendy, I always say on the show that we can't necessarily just dial up the person that we particularly would like to connect with on the other side. There's a certain process for those sort of things to happen, and there's never any guarantees. How I like to work, if you want to fire a question at me, if your mum wants to come through and interrupt and give some information towards that, she will, but there's never a guarantee that she's going to come through. So do you have a question that I can answer for you?
Not really. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, but, you know, there's got to be a reason why you wanted to connect with your mum. I mean, if you want to know, is she okay, I can categorically answer that for you. There's nobody on the other side, to my knowledge, that isn't okay. Nobody's ever come through and said to me, gee, I hate it over here, it's horrible. You know, they all seem to be very happy, and they don't have the ailments that they had here, the pain or the sickness, and all those sort of things are gone. You know, and quite often when they come through from the other side, they'll present themselves in a way that they were most proud. You know, they might have passed away at 80, but they come through at 30 because that was when they felt the most comfortable in their earthly time. So, you know, your mum's certainly around you all the time. I'm sure she gives you lots of messages. She, you know, the energy that she's sharing with me is that there isn't a moment goes past that she isn't by your side. But there must be something particular in your life that you want to know, you want an answer to now. You know, you're looking for a new job, or is there something that's been troubling you?
Well, yeah, I have been. There's a job that I've been trying to get, and I'm really, really hoping for it. So, you know, is there a possibility that I could get it? I've already applied. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Look, I think there's more than a real possibility. The reason why I brought up the job, because they showed me the symbolism of a job with 2 question marks around it. So I wasn't sure whether that meant that you were questioning in 2 different ways whether this was the right job for you, or whether it's been slow in sort of coming forward and you're still waiting for an answer. what I'm picking up now is the fact that I don't think you're going to hear anything about this particular job until about the middle of January. It's sort of like you've still got a little bit of time to wait. So I don't want you to become disappointed or upset about, no sort of communication from them. They're not ready to say sort of actually hire somebody just yet. You're certainly in the mix there of them really being very happy to do so. So it's like sort of just be patient, just enjoy it. But I think you also can do something fairly constructive towards this. Keep sort of telling yourself that this is the job that you want. What would I do if I was given this opportunity? How would this change my life? I believe that we always have to be active in something, and I don't think this is one of those situations where you shouldn't write out the name of the job and the company and the position and put it on the refrigerator, and every time you walk past it, read it out aloud, because you're sending that definite message to the universe and particularly to your mum that this is what you want. And I think that's one of the things that we most probably as human beings don't understand, that people on the other side are not allowed to read our mind. We have to ask out aloud for the things that we want their help, their guidance with, their input with. They're not able to come in and read our mind because they're our personal thoughts. So, if you put the name of the company on the fridge and the position of the job and say, hey, Mum, I'd really like a hand with this. This is my perfect job. And ask her for that help. And she'll be only too happy to sort of do what she can do from the other side to make that a reality for you. But I feel that you've worked long and hard to get to this opportunity. I didn't think this was something that, you just saw it advertised and you thought, oh, that'd be good. This to me is something you've been working on for some time.
Yeah, it's 3.5 years now.
Yeah, well, that's a long time to be working on, landing that wonderful job. It's not something that you got out of bed today and said, great, that'd be a nice company to work for. You've really put solid effort into this. And I think it will probably be a little bit different to what you first imagined when you get there, but I'm not saying you're going to be disappointed with it. I think it's going to be even better than what you imagined.
Yeah.
That'll be good. But there's also a big decision towards the end of next year at whether or not you're going to stay where you're living.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they were saying, let's get the job first, get you settled into that, and then that's the next major thing on the agenda. You know what I mean? Like, let's take the first step as the job. Then number 2 step will be whether we stay where you're living.
I had actually set goals out to that, and the first one was the job, and the second was the home.
Yeah, well, that's how they were showing it to me, 1, 2. Did Mum used to wear a distinctive type of perfume?
Excuse me?
Did your mum used to wear a particular type of perfume? Was there something that she really liked?
Yeah.
Because I keep smelling a smell that I can't put a name to, but she's saying to me, you'll know it. So when you know that there's a message coming from her, you'll get that smell of her perfume just for that split second. That's when you really need to talk out aloud to Mum to acknowledge that she's there.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, lovely to speak with you, sweetie. Now I have to put my glasses on so I can see the next one. Oh, it's Tony in San Diego, California. Are you there, Tony?
Hi, Miranda.
Hi, sweetie. Merry Christmas. How can I help you?
Merry Christmas. So I had a numerology reading about 2 years ago where the numerologist had said that I was going to have a life-changing event in 2 years, and 2019 would be the second year. So I wanted to know if you could see anything major happening this year.
Okay, so what's your birth date, sweetie? Just give me your star sign, sweetie. You don't have to give me your birth date.
My birthday is July 12th.
July 12th, did you say?
Yes, 1976.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you're a Cancer. I don't do numerology, and I don't have anything with me to look at the astrology, but I can tell you if you're a Cancer, which you are, you probably had sort of quite a bit of emotional stuff to deal with in the last couple of days with the full moon in Cancer, but you're also going through some major transitions. Now, if astrologically, numerology-wise, you were told that you had that 2-year window, that would tie in astrologically with some of the planets that are sitting in Capricorn, which is like your opposite sign. It's like, here's the Cancer stuff, here's the Capricorn stuff, and it's like I'm opposing it. It's like I'm challenging you to see what it is that you want to keep and what you want to let go of in your life. The best thing I can say to you is don't just do something because it's come into your mind. Wait until it drives you nuts. You know, if you keep getting this, oh, I'm sick of my job and I really want a new one, it's getting you to the point that it's nearly literally driving you mad, that you can't think of anything else, then that's the time that you've got to make the decision. Not just because you've got up today and you've had a bad day at work and you think, oh, I want a new job. Tomorrow's a different day. Mm-hmm. So if we look at it in that way, then we're going to strengthen your intuition, and that's what needs to happen. What I'm being shown is nothing major is going to happen before about March. I think March is your pivotal point coming up in 2019. Is there a relationship that you've just broken up with or has shifted? There's been a major shift there? I'm talking about a romantic relationship, not a friendship.
Yes.
So you're still in that relationship, or?
No, we're not together, but we still do talk.
Yeah, but I don't know that relationship will ever go back to being what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of feel the reason I'm saying that is, I mean, look, there's always the possibility of that, but they were showing me someone new. They were showing me a new, tall, dark-headed man coming in around April, May, and this was going to be sort of one of the major changes that was coming into your life. But to me, that's not the whole instigation of change. The change is coming within you. The opportunities are coming for you because you've done the work on yourself. You know, you've opened yourself up to be ready to new opportunities, to new things, to things that you want to happen in your life, and that's good. I don't feel uncomfortable with that. I feel very positive with that, and it's a really good thing. So, because
yes, I feel that I feel like something is definitely going to happen. I just feel something shifting inside of me, and I know that the new year is going to be bringing a lot of new things because of the fact that I have just been separating myself from toxic and negative people and situations.
Good. And that's precisely what you should have been doing. And that's why I spoke about before, the stuff opposing your Cancer sun. You know, the two planets sitting in Capricorn sort of like push-pull, you know, sort of making you make those choices. Like, you know, it could be somebody that you've been friends with for 20 years and all of a sudden you see them for what they truly are, that they're very negative and very draining, and you think, as much as I love you, I can't have you do that or allow that to happen in my life anymore. I'll keep you at arm's length. You know, I won't necessarily break the friendship, but I'll put you over there where I can control it, that you don't drain me. And that's a good thing. And all these steps are taking you to where you need to be. But what I want you to look at is from the new year through to March is that lead-up period. I'd get a book and I'd write things down, you know, or record it on your phone. You know, I had this bright idea today. And then if it keeps coming back into your mind, then that's the thing we've got to work on. If it was only once or twice, we put it in the pile of the maybes. If it only happened once, we discard it. So that we're not allowing yourself to waste valuable time. But I know next year, new relationship, new job, house move, and I think a complete change of direction in who you are and where you're going. You're becoming so strong, and you've learnt that word no, and you can do it really well now, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good, because too many people were taking advantage of you before. You know, you'd do anything for anybody and never left any time for you. Now we've sort of put you at the top of the queue where you should have always been, and you can say no and not even give an explanation, which is wonderful.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think you've got an amazing opportunities ahead of you, but I really, really, really want you to go with that first feeling. You know, learn to write that down or record it in some way so that you can see it's proving itself to you time and time again that was right. That's intuition. Say you were going to buy a new car and you walked into the car lot, you had in your head you wanted to buy a red one, but you get drawn to the blue one, but you keep coming back to the red one because you had in your head you were going to buy a red one, but intuitively you were drawn to the blue one. There would be a reason for that.
Right.
So you've got to learn to understand the messages that are being shared with you, and they are being shared with you constantly, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're very in tune, and I think you've done an amazing job on yourself in this last 12 to 18 months. And look, it doesn't matter what science that you follow, whether it's numerology, astrology, or getting a psychic reading, they're all there as a guideline, but we still have to do the work, and you've done the work and you've continued to do so, which is amazing, and that's what it's about. So you're going to reap the rewards this year, and I'd say, you know, give yourself a pat on the back. It's a job well done. You've done exceptionally well.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I don't hand that compliment out lightly, because you really, really have done the work. And, you know, it's been tough too to make these decisions, to sort of push people to one side and say, I can't have you in your life because you're too negative and you're too draining. And that really, it hurts you, but you had to do it for your own self-preservation, which is wonderful. Yeah. Anyway, lovely to speak with you, and Merry, Merry Christmas, whatever you're doing.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Amanda.
Same to you, sweetie. Well, we're just about at the end of the show. Next week I'll be back home on the Gold Coast for our regular show with our regular astrological segments and candle of the week and everything like that. Wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, I hope you're having a very, very Merry Christmas, and please be kind to each other. And remember to take your smile wherever you go, and be courteous and kind to people. And most of all, be kind to yourself. And, you know, it's a time to have a little bit of an unwind and watch your favourite Christmas movie and indulge in things that we don't do for the rest of the year. But just make sure that you're still aware communication is a weapon, and we don't need to start World War III with somebody in the family because it's Christmas. We need to leave this year on a very happy, joyous note and be kind to everybody else. Merry Christmas.